Well, good morning. We're coming at you from inside the van today. I'm probably going to be spending the next week, possibly 2 weeks, doing some work in the van here, remodeling. So let's get right to it. I'll show you what I'm working with. The van is a total mess right now. I've already started removing some things, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Next to my side door here, next to this shelving unit's actually going to get removed and redone as well. This pile of junk here is where my old kitchen counter was. I left a little space between my kitchen counter and the unit I had there so I could slide my propane tank in. But what's happened is I have purchased a new fridge. It's a bigger fridge, so I want to be able to accommodate that bigger fridge underneath my kind of kitchen table area. So I am going to make it wider to accommodate that fridge and put it on a pull-out drawer so I can stow it away when I'm not using it. So that is the plan there, as well as this shelving unit here is going to get totally torn out. This was just kind of a makeshift thing I did over the summer when I was back in Maine. So I need to remove all this junk, go through it, probably could get rid of half of this stuff that I don't use. And I'm going to have the shelving unit be a little bit more narrow. So it's going to come over, probably just a little bit to accommodate the bigger kitchen area, but not much. And I'm going to have it not as deep. I've realized that I made it a little bit too deep, so it's coming out too far, and the narrow pathway between the shelves and my bed is a little bit too narrow. I'm having trouble pulling out the storage bins I have underneath my bed, as well as if I have any drawers or slide out stuff here. It was just too close there. And I'm also going to do a minor modification to my bed. It's going to be a little bit wider and kind of have a backing to it like a couch. So that's in the works. I'm also going to work on my electrical system. My battery bank is underneath my bed here. You can see my batteries just a little bit. I need to go through and put fuses and circuit breakers. I don't have it set up as safe as it could be, so I'm going to bring you along for that. I do have a new inverter, so quite a few projects. I need to get busy on just getting the junk out of here so I can start working. Once everything's removed, I'm going to take a trip down to Home Depot, start pricing some lumber, some hardware for that slide-out drawer for my fridge, and anything else I think I might need. So let's get busy. Okay, as you can see, I got my shelving unit cleared out here. It's probably going to be the hardest part of this whole job, is getting all my junk out of the van. So I got a clear space over here. I have this attached with some L brackets on either side, so I need to undo those and it should slide right out. I've got it kind of set up to where it fit right over the wheel well in the bottom there. So it was real snug on either side of the wheel well. So that kind of helped it stay in place as well on the bottom. So I need to get a last bit of junk out of the back here. I've got my bike rack removed so I can open my rear doors and get this shelving unit out of here. You can start taking some measurements. I think before I'm going to start on this side, because I'll have a clear space over here when I remove this, I am going to do my work on my battery bank and bed on this side. That way I'll have more workspace to stand on this side. So let's see if we can get this shelving unit out of here. All right, we are making some headway here. We've got a nice clean spot on the passenger side of the van here. So next step I need to decide is if I want to take off the paneling on this side wall here. I wasn't really pleased with how I did it. I tried to use the original paneling, the stock paneling in the van, as a template, but what I didn't realize is I was removing the plastic window frames, so I ended up having to frame it off with wood and kind of wasting space. This is away from the side of the van a good few inches, so I think I'm going to remove the paneling on the lower portion, leave the top portion, and then see what I want to do. Just fill in with paneling around my shelving, because my shelving unit's going to pretty much hide the whole window. So I am going to remove this Reflectix and go in with insulation foam board to cover that window, because it will be covered by my shelving unit. So I think I am going to remove this paneling. That will give me a little bit more space as far as the width of the van. Well, I did decide to go ahead and remove the paneling. You can see I have the rear AC and heater unit that I'm going to go ahead and leave in. I think that would be more trouble to try to remove and bypass that than just leave it. It does leave me with these pipes here, although I could remove those and just put some caps on top. I might do that and just save those hoses. Okay, well, we're making a little headway here. I've got my mattress and bed removed as to expose the battery bank. I did a very hasty install when I first put my batteries in here. I've got 4 AGM batteries, and they're all tied together there, but I did not put enough fuses and breakers in it. So I'm going back and replacing some of the wire with thicker wire. As you can see here, I've got some nice thick leads, and then also my circuit breakers. So basically, I need to put a 30 amp breaker in line on my incoming solar panel wire going to the charge controller on the positive lead, so a 30 amp there, and then another 30 amp going from the positive lead on my battery bank, which goes to the charge controller, so that's protected. And then I also need to put a big 150 amp breaker, which is going to go from my battery bank to my 500 watt pure sine wave inverter here. So that'll be protection for my inverter. Okay, so I've come to a little bit of a standstill on my battery project. I'm going to leave it as is there with the 2 circuit breakers I added. The wire leads I kind of have the wrong length, so I'm going to see if I can return them and get the proper ones. So we're going to put the bed surface back on so I have a place to sit as I'm planning out the shelving and kitchen area. So we'll talk more about that here in a second. Alright, so I'm working on my kitchen table here. Drew up some plans. This is pretty crude. I'm not a carpenter, but I just wanted to make use of my wood as efficiently as possible, get as many pieces out of it as I could for each 8-foot length. So I think I was able to do that, calculated it here, made my cuts, and then I used my Craig jig to make some pocket holes like you see on these ends here. So I'm going to construct the top frame of my table. And I'm going to use this clamp here. I've had this in the van. I knew it would come in handy. I used it on my last build. So I'm going to get some wood glue in there. So I'll loosen this, get some wood glue in there, and then my pocket screw will go right in the side there. Let that glue set up. Get this whole thing constructed. Then I'll work on getting my legs and my cross supports on the bottom there. That's what we're doing. Close. Okay, well, it is day 2 on this van build project. I have been working on my kitchen counter stand here. This is where my fridge is going to be, in a slide out drawer. So that's pretty much the framework of it. I'm going to use some thin plywood to cover the sides, and then I should be able to repurpose one of my old pieces of plywood from my previous build. I will have to round out the edges on this side here to match here, but it's almost a perfect fit. So that should work out good. I think it'll look nice. So I went ahead and got my kitchen frame inside here where my fridge is. So a little talk on my fridge. This is obviously made by Costway. It's a 54 quart or 54 liter, I believe. And it was about $379. Does run on AC. It has an AC adapter and a 12 volt plug, so it's AC or DC. And so far I've been pretty happy with it. I've had it running for about 4 days. It seems a little louder than my small Dometic, but of course it's a bigger fridge. And I just wanted to make sure that I made my measurements right, because these handles stick out, and this is going to be on a drawer sliding out from under here. So I do have my clearance on either side, so that worked out good. We're making a little progress here on my kitchen counter. It is a warm day today. It's supposed to be up into the high 70s here in San Diego. Nice winter weather. Anyway, I've got the kitchen counter in here. I had to close up the doors and cover this window up to get better lighting so we can get a shot in here. Anyway, that's what it's looking like so far. This countertop is just sitting on there. I still need to sand and finish the edges on it. So this will all be getting coated with this color stain there. It's a nice gloss finish for the kitchen area, should clean up good. Same with this plywood side paneling, that will get stained to be the same color. And then I'm going to add my fold up leaf table here, so we'll have a little extension on my kitchen counter. So that's how it's going to look. I still need to do my drawer for the bottom for my fridge that's going to slide out. Next, I probably am going to start looking at my plywood templates, or make a template to cut my plywood out for each of the sides of my shelving. So I'm going to have to see if I've got a big enough piece of cardboard to make that template and try to scribe it out. Well, okay, the lighting in here isn't the best, but we're going to try to give you a shot of how I'm doing this. I want to go along the contour of the side of the van here, down this curve, and this notch here is pretty important as well. So what I do is I take a piece of cardboard. You can see this is already cut, but what I do is I kind of just put it up against here and make a rough cut so I can get it as close as possible. And then I can come in with a scribe. This is a scribe here. You can open up the ends, and it's kind of pointy on the ends there. So you can put one end up against the side of the van, and then the other end will go against the cardboard. And you can just go along the contour, and that will give you a nice, you can, push it into the cardboard to make a line, and that'll give you a nice representation of what that contour is onto your cardboard. So you can see I've already done this here, but that's how you would do it. Just like that, and then you've got a line to cut out, and then you can test fit it, and then when I've got it perfectly fit, I can use this as a template to lay down on my plywood, and then use like a jigsaw to cut that out. So that is the plan. I'm going to do a little bit more refining on this, and then take this in and try to cut my plywood. Okay, slowly but surely we're making a little bit of headway here. I've got now the sides of my shelving supported by these cross beams here. One there, one on the floor, and this heavy duty one in back. So now I'm going to start looking at how I want to have this shelf spaced out. I'm going to use this here as support for the back shelf, put some supports along the side, get a shelf in there. That'll be the first. And then I'm just going to kind of sit here and stare at this and see what would be a good spacing for me. All right, well, I think we've kind of come to the end of the day here. This is the progress I've made today. Got a lot done. Very productive day. Got the shelving unit, the shelves, the bottom three in. There is going to be one more top shelf, but I'm going to wait till the unit is inside the van. So I'm going to hold off on that. And then I don't have enough wood to finish the fronts. This is the kind of board I'm going to use. That's why I left a little 3/4 inch gap there. So I can put this face board there, and that'll be a little lip on the shelf to keep stuff from sliding out. So I'm going to do that on all three shelves there. So we'll need to get some more lumber tomorrow. And then I'm thinking I'm going to probably paint this. I don't know if I'm going to use the stain or go with paint. So just going to have to go with the flow. Well, I think it's time to call it a day. I've been going since about 7:30 a.m. It's about 5:30 p.m. I'm just trying to get as much done as possible each day. I would love to have this done by the end of the week, but I think that's being a little too optimistic, but we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow on the project list is getting my drawers built. I'm going to have a drawer for my fridge. It's going to pull out from underneath my kitchen unit. And then above that, there's going to be another big drawer for all my kitchen stuff. So we'll see how that goes. It would really be nice if I had a table saw saw to make those cuts for the pieces of wood for the drawers. I don't have a table saw. I know my neighbor has one, so I might hit him up. He is retired. He's got a pretty neat wood shop in his backyard, so maybe he'll be willing to give me a hand. We'll see how that goes. There is some rain in the forecast as well this week, so that might slow me down, but I'm going to get as much done as possible. I really want to get through this build. So again, I appreciate you guys following along, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.